Welcome back. New bombshell documents. President Trump has ordered the declassification of all records related to the biggest political scandal in our history. The entrapment of one political campaign instigated by another with the help of the U.S. intelligence agency, something I've been reporting on and breaking news on since day one. The Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, also released these new documents, including former CIA Director John Brennan's handwritten notes for a meeting with former President Obama, revealing that Hillary Clinton approved a plan to, quote, vilify Donald Trump by stirring up scandal, claiming interference by the Russian security service. It's just, you can't write this stuff. It's unbelievable. Joining me right now is former South Carolina Congressman and Fox News contributor Trey Gowdy, who was the chairman of the Oversight Committee while this was all going down. Trey, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
It's pretty extraordinary. What's your reaction to these declassified notes that show that it was actually Hillary Clinton's plan to tie Trump to Russia after all of those years when you tried to get documents from the FBI as a sitting chairman of a major intelligence committee, the Oversight Committee, and you kept hitting brick walls?
Well, I have two reactions. Number one, the D.C. media loves leaks, Maria. I mean, they're hopelessly infatuated with leaks. But when John Ratcliffe does it the right way, actually goes through the process of declassifying information so you and I can read it, he's vilified. So that's my first reaction, the duplicity of the D.C. media. My second reaction is Devin wound up being right. I mean, think all the way back to when the House Intel Committee had to go to court to fight Adam Schiff and the Democrats to find out who funded the dossier. So it was the DNC buying Russian dirt to embarrass President Trump and divert away from her email arrangement. That wound up being exactly what happened. We spent 4 years investigating Russian collusion with the Trump campaign and got a big fat zero. And they never bothered to take seriously the intelligence that maybe Clinton was using Russian dirt to try to hurt Trump. They never even took it seriously.
Well, they never even took it seriously, but also some of your former colleagues are telling me that they've never seen this. So, you know, you could take it seriously if you see it. But these documents are completely new, according to Devin Nunes. Devin came on the show last Sunday, and the congressman, who is the ranking member of the Intel Committee, said that this was the first time he had seen this, as well as speaking about it, getting a briefing from the DNI, John Ratcliffe. So does this mean that the FBI just sat on this and pretty much hid it so that the people investigating what the predicate was for an investigation into Trump would never know that Hillary actually decided to tie him to Russia collusion?
Yes. That's what that means. When the chairman, he wasn't the ranking member at the time. He was the chairman. He's a member of the Gang of Eight. He's the head of the Oversight Committee for the intelligence community. So if Devin Nunes hasn't seen it before, and I certainly never saw it before, and Paul Ryan and Kevin McCarthy and Ratcliffe, when he was a congressman, never saw it before, it's not just the FBI. It's also the CIA. The CIA had access to this information, even more so than the Bureau. So if it's been 4 years and countless requests, and they were put in place by Donald Trump, it does make you wonder why it's taken us so long to access what I think everyone would consider to be a relevant piece of information.
Yeah, I'd say this, as my sources have told me, that Gina Haspel is stopping this declassification so that she can keep these documents under lid. I mean, Gina Haspel was running the CIA in London during the time of this entrapment. Why is she pushing for Ratcliffe to not declassify anything more? Is it just because she's embarrassed that the CIA will look like it was complicit while John Brennan was all over TV in the last 3 years saying that President Trump had committed treason, even though he knew of the same intelligence that he got, that he saw that it was Hillary Clinton's idea?
Well, one thing I learned the 8 years I was there is the agencies are primarily concerned with protecting their own reputations. That's their number one goal when they wake up in the morning, whether that's the Bureau, whether it's the CIA. I will tell you this, though, Maria. I mean, President can bring, Gina Haspel was picked by him. So the president can bring Gina Haspel and Johnny Ratcliffe and Bill Barr into his office this afternoon and say, okay, you don't think it should be declassified, you do, give me both your arguments and I'm going to decide right now. I mean, he gets to decide what's classified and what's not. He can declassify anything he wants, and if you have a cabinet level or almost cabinet level official that is bucking declassification, make her come to your office and explain why.
Trey, was there criminality done here?
You know, criminality, I think certainly there were misrepresentations made to the FISA court, and the FISA court can kind of protect its own. They can hold people in contempt. We know Kleinsmith broke the law, whether or not there are others. And, you know, Maria, you've been good enough. You've been following this story from day one, and you've been good enough to let me weigh in on this. Whether there's criminality or not, this is an embarrassing 4 years for the intelligence community and the FBI. And there should be consequences, whether that means an indictment. You know, I've never thought indictment was the only way to mete out consequences. I think doing a bad job and losing your job and being not meeting your fellow citizens' expectations, those are all consequences of malfeasance also. I'm waiting just like you on John Durham to hopefully write the final definitive accounting of what happened and when it happened. And until then, if there are no more indictments, Maria, they still did a lousy job, whether there's an indictment or not.
Yeah. And as I've reported, I'm hearing that there is going to be no interim report by John Durham before the election and unlikely to see any indictments. But these declassified documents point right to the Obama administration officials for knowing that Hillary Clinton had this plan and the intelligence agencies getting weaponized. The only answer from the Obama camp that we have is from Valerie Jarrett when I interviewed her here just a couple of weeks ago. Listen to this. So I ask you, did President Obama direct any of this?
That's not how it works. That's not how our investigations work. That we leave that to the intelligence community to bring forward information, and the dossier, I would imagine, would be one piece of a much bigger puzzle. And so if you're saying, is it important to make sure that there isn't influence? And actually, the Mueller report didn't conclude that there wasn't any wrongdoing. In fact, he was explicit in saying quite the opposite. And so I don't think we should read in where there hasn't been actually any conclusions to that effect yet. You're making statements that actually haven't been proven.
Just to be clear, just to be clear, Robert Mueller said no collusion. Michael Horowitz, the IG of the FBI, said that the dossier was, quote unquote, an essential piece of all of this investigating of the Trump campaign. Essential piece was the word Michael Horowitz used. So you say it was part of a larger mosaic. We have no evidence of that. We only have evidence of the dossier. And, of course, Trey Gowdy, in your infamous interview of John Brennan, he said he didn't even use the dossier.
Yeah, I mean, act like he'd never heard of it before. We also interviewed Jim Comey, and I was stunned primarily not at what he didn't remember, but at what he never knew. I mean, this is the head of the CIA. It's the head of the FBI. They're investigating a major presidential candidate and or a president-elect, and their best defense is we didn't know what was going on. I mean, here's the reality, despite what Valerie Jarrett just said, Maria. The reality is one campaign did buy Russian dirt on another campaign and laundered it through a U.S. law enforcement agency. It just wasn't President Trump.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Trey Gowdy, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
We hope you'll come back soon. Trey, thanks for joining us. And all of this is in my new book. I hope you will pre-order my book, The Cost, Trump, China, and American Revival. It is going to be out in the next 2 weeks, but you can pre-order it right now at thecostbook.com.